I'm Tennille, and you couldn't tell the difference. And I am going to tell you a little bit about what we're going to do. Our presentation is a little bit different because we chose to do something on technology for you guys to see. We're very interested in using technology in the classroom in middle school, and so we didn't bring the whole class with us. We each brought a few of our students. I'm going to be presenting a 7th grade lesson, and Jeff's going to be presenting a 6th grade lesson. As we're speaking, the kids are going to be doing stuff on the screen, and since we have 2, we're going to kind of switch back and forth, so you can kind of watch both, but one of them a little easier to see. So at the end, we'll have the kids tell you a little bit about what they liked and what they didn't like about our Glogsters. So Jeff's going to start.
All right, well, we already heard about Mr. D not knowing about Glogster, but as far as the rest of you, how many of you have ever heard of the website Glogster or Glogs or anything like that? Okay, so not many of you. Yeah, it's a website. Glogster is basically a website that goes ahead and allows students to express their creativity when coming up with different concepts that are gone through in class. And what these blogs are basically collections of pictures, collections of could be videos, sound samples, drawings, text-based examples, all sorts of different things that can be sort of fused together into this interactive poster toward the end. So when the students get to the end here, we'll have them present their interactive posters complete with sound samples, videos, that sort of thing that reinforces the concept that we are teaching in class. Now, for my example, I'm going to be, the project that I did with them is instrument families. We talked about families of instruments in the orchestra and instruments outside the orchestra as well. And the first thing that I had the students do after going through a couple classes of introducing families, orchestra families, and that sort of thing, is I had the students go and do what Alex is doing over on the other side here. There he is. He's from Kenmore Middle School. He's 6th grade. And Alex is right now working with a blog that I created myself so that he can go ahead and, by listening to some of the different instruments and also figuring out, and also tells you what instruments they are. He splits them up into the different instrument categories, and he's doing this on this side, or on the other side. There is, with Glogster, every student in our situation, every student got a password and an ID. And because it's a website, you can use this, or you can log on to Glogster wherever you are. You don't need a special program. All you need is a computer and connections to the internet to go ahead and fix your blogs, or start creating or finishing up and that sort of thing. The Glogster address is edu.glogster.com. It starts with edu. There is a regular version of Glogster that's just for doing certain things, other than educational purposes. But for this one, it's edu.glogster.com. So Alex is going ahead and, based on sound and also based on the names of the instruments, going ahead and separating. That's the first task of the project. The second task that I had them do was go ahead and create their blogs. Now, if we can turn, Alex is over there, and here we go with the, right. Okay. All right. So once they go ahead and they split up their instrument families, they go ahead and they select a family that they want to create their blog on. And these ladies decided to do their blog on the string instruments. And so what they're doing is they're basically going to the internet online and finding pictures of different instruments and putting them along with going to the internet and finding sound recordings of the internet or of the instruments themselves. And why don't you show us how you're doing that? Can we add another instrument at all? All right. Let's see. I'm sort of a control freak when it comes to, my classes, and I generally, especially with the fact that with my 6th grade classes, I was just getting to know them, and it was our first music project of the year, so I didn't really feel comfortable with them just gallivanting all over the internet looking for, certain things, especially in school. So what I instead had them do is go to a library that I created based on my website that has instrument pictures on them and has sound samples on them as well. And then what they do is they go to my website, they create a link, and they do this very, very easily. They just know how to do this stuff now. It's amazing. And they create this link to the blog, and then they are able to put frames around it. They're able to put shadow backing. They're able to do a whole bunch of different things with it as well. And then after we're done with the pictures, we need to add in some text, and Glogster allows you to add in some text as well, describing the different instruments, giving some categories or giving some criteria of some of the different instrument families that they are doing. So, for instance, brass instruments, they'll obviously say brass instruments are made of brass. They generally have a bell at the end where the sound comes out, and they have slides and valves in order to make their sound. So that's basically what our projects entail here. And if we can go to actually the finished projects, let's go to Alex's first here. So we'll switch. All right, and Alex is going to introduce his project with the brass family and explain a little bit about some of the instruments and their characteristics.
Hello, my name is Alex. My project was on the brass family, and I just want to tell you a little bit about it. The brass family only has valves and slides. You have to buzz the mouthpiece, which is what you have to buzz into to make the sound. You have to make an interesting sound, but I don't really want to do it now. It would be kind of weird. And basically, they all have a bell at the end. If they basically didn't have a bell, I have no idea what they'd be called.
All right, why don't you tell us about some of the instruments that you have up there and maybe even play some of the examples?
Well, some of the instruments I have here, for example, the trumpet. Let's see, I also have the lowest instrument, the tuba. It's kind of hard to see.
Play the lowest.
And how about the French horn?
French horn.
Very loud.
All right, very good. And you can see, some of the creativity that goes into it as well. They're allowed to go ahead and they have what they need to have there, but they also use their creativity in whatever pictures they would like to put on there in order to make it a little bit more spiffy looking, in accordance with what they want to do. So what we'll do is we'll move over to the ladies here. All right. Let's have Jason. Let's go here. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So, here, I'll take this. I want you to tell us a little bit about the string family.
I'm Ariana. I did the string family for my project. There's a lot of string instruments, and I included a lot of the basics on my project. I did the cello, which sounds like that. String instruments must either be plucked or both to make a sound. The longer and the thicker the strings are in a string instrument, the deeper the sound is. And then if you want a higher sound, you need shorter and thinner strings.
My name is Anna, and I did the woodwind family. Most of mine are basic, but some of them you may not have heard of, like the bassoon or the oboe, and the English one. The woodwind family includes instruments such as the flute, oboe, bassoon, and the English one. The saxophone is also included in this family. What makes these instruments woodwinds is that you need to blow into either a hole or a reed. The flute is the only woodwind that you blow in a hole. Located on the head of this unique instrument. However, the saxophone, oboe, clarinet, English horn, oboe, clarinet, English horn, and bassoon require a reed to blow into the
Thank you guys, thank you. Yes, great. We also, like I said, there are also ways that you can enter in videos as well as drawings and that sort of thing. And with that, we will have my lovely wife, Tennille, come on up board. Mrs. Trenchard, see you guys. All right, come on up and create theirs.
All right, so I did my project a little bit differently. In 7th grade, we're learning musical elements, musical language. Oops. And my students had to pick, actually I assigned them a word that we had already learned and talked about, listened to, and they had to identify. And so when they started their clocks, they got the template that you just saw, and you can still see over there on Kaylee's in the background, where I had all the words on there. And then they had to delete the words that weren't theirs, and they kept the word that was theirs. And then Mary is showing how she's changing the background. She automatically changed it. She must have hated it right away. So she got rid of it and got these nice little bubbles up there. And what I required of them is to put in the definition of the word. They have to put in the definition I gave them. They have to put in their own definition. So I know that they can say it in their own words and they really understand it. And then I'm not as controlling as my husband, and I let them go on the internet. And they got to search on Google, and they had to find 2 pictures, or 2 or 3 pictures, that represented the word. So as long as they could explain to me how it actually represented the word, I would take that picture. So a lot of the kids go for the music pictures, but a lot of the kids like to pick pictures that are completely different and out of the box. And they would choose a picture that you would look at it and you'd say, how in the world does that represent melody or harmony? But as long as they had their little definition next to it and they had their explanation. So they each had to enter text boxes and explain why they chose what they chose. So they could have any sort of picture they wanted as long as they could justify why they chose it. Then I also had them do videos. So I'm going to first have Mary show you how we put in videos. So she's going to go to YouTube and choose a video. Now her word was unison, so she found this kind of silly little video of these birds singing in unison. And so she's going to, yeah, it's kind of funny. She's going to highlight the web address at the top. She's going to copy and paste it into the clock. So she's going to copy and she's going to go back to her clock. And go to video. And then she's going to link it right to her clock. She's going to click link and she's going to paste that in. And then as you can see, we already did it just in case Google and YouTube weren't working this morning. But Now, what's really cool about this, I'm going to have you pause for a second, Mary. I will say that some videos don't work, and Kaylee and I had a heck of a time trying to find videos that would fit in her blog. You find the best video, and then you go to put it in, and it won't play. So here's the spot where you have to check and make sure it actually plays. So Mary's going to press play and make sure it's going to work. And it does, so she's going to stop it. Now, what's really neat is, if the kids were doing a poster, a regular poster, they might just stick up snapshots that they put on. And you know that as we're grading projects, we like to look at the ones that have a lot of interesting eye appeal. So what's cool about Glogster is you can click players. So she's going to click players behind, no, not yet. Oh, that's okay, right there. Okay, players, and she can choose, go ahead, scroll back up. She can choose any sort of player that she wants to go around that. So I want you to pick one, Mary. And it just makes it a little bit more exciting, a little more eye-appealing when you actually look at the clock. So she's going to use it, and then it will go right in her clock. Okay, so this is how you can actually put videos in, and you can take your own videos from your little flash flip cameras and put them in too. It's pretty cool. So now we're going to switch over to Kaylee. Kaylee's working on melody. And she's already started to put a text bubble in where she's talking about what her sound, or what her word is. And Kaylee's going to answer, now this is a picture from Google, where Jeff had them go to his website where he already had them picked for them. The kids searched on Google, and what I will say is when you're adding a picture from Google, you have to make sure you click on See Full-Size Image. If not, you don't get a correct picture. So she's already found a picture in Google. She's copied the address. She made sure it was full-size image. She's going to link that address, and she's going to throw it in there just like Mary did with the video. And before she puts it in her blog, she's going to go to frames in the background and find a cool frame to put around it. And what's neat about Google is they really have lots of things to choose from. There's pages and pages and pages of frames and players that you can choose from. So she's going to find something different, stick it around there, and throw it in. And now once they're in, she can resize, and she can choose to do write words that go next to it, and things like that. So she's going to continue to do that. I want to show Mary's again. Can we flip-flop back? And we found this really neat thing. It doesn't work with all computers. It depends on what kind of computer you have, and it depends on if you have a webcam. It depends on if you have a microphone. I know the Macs that we were working on have the webcam right on them, and they have the mic at the top. So in class, Mary could scroll up to the top there and go to grab, or image, that's fine. Sure, go to image and grab. Now if you're grabbing an image, she would be taking a picture of herself right from the computer. Or what she did in class is she turned and she took a picture of her neighbor. And she put her neighbor's picture in her blog. And you can actually, if the computer had a camera, we could do that. You can also do that with sound clips. You can record your own voice. And you can also record a video if you have a webcam also. And that's kind of neat. Students can put in their own stuff if they want to talk about it. So we're not able to do that here. But let's go back and let's look at some of our finished products. So why don't we have Mary show her finished product, and why don't you talk us through it? Okay, you can explain how you did it. And
my word was harmony, and the definition was harmony is two different things happening at the same time. And I have like harmony here, and I said they're in harmony because they're singing at the same time. And then this is my son Megan, to use the interface, and I said that she's in harmony because like she's shooting on reading and singing it all at the same time, which is just like and then this is like a choir, and they're all singing. And one of my videos is this. And they're in harmony because they're all singing different pitches. And then another video I did was of the same guy, but he put stuff in like different pictures and at different times, so he's singing different pitches.
Nice, thanks, Mary. What I really like about looking at their blogs, I know from the pictures they chose and the definitions and the little write-ups that they gave, that they really understand it. That they go to YouTube and they really have to find something that represents their blog, and Mary did a really great job about that. So let's look at Kaylee's blog. She did Melody, and I have to thank Kaylee because she made a whole new blog because when I picked the two girls, they both had the same word. So Kaylee said, oh, I'll make a new one. Right, so thank you so much. And Kaylee did Melody. So can you talk through Melody with Mr. Trenchard's mic over there?
I did Melody. My name is Kaylee, and in my definition is the part of the song that gets stuck in your head. And then the real definition of melody is a single series of notes or the main tune of a song. One of the pictures that I did was a picture of a lady humming because it symbolizes when a person is humming. It's not just random notes, it's usually a part of the song that got stuck in their head. One of the videos that I did is Happy Birthday. Happy Birthday is a well-known song with a melody that is known nationwide. This popular melody is very catchy and tends to get stuck in your head. Also, the ABC song, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and Blah Blah Black Sheep, all have the same melody. This melody is very popular and also tends to get stuck in your head very easily. The next one is Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. And the last one is Blah Blah Black Sheep. One is of Beethoven because he is an excellent composer, and composers are well known for having melodies in their music. And also there is a picture of piano and guitar because the piano and guitar, along with the singer, are the most popular things that are used to create a melody.
Thank you, Kaylee. Very nice. Both thought that this was a pretty neat thing. The kids are on the computers, they're using the internet, they're using technology, which we know is a major push in the schools today to get us using technology in the classroom. And they're able to use technology and show music and put it all together. So we just thought we'd ask the kids what they thought, what they liked about the projects. So where's Alex? Where'd he go? He's right there. Oh, Alex, what did you like about doing the Glogster project?
Well, what I liked about it is that it gave us a great experience to learn more about instruments and learn more of how to read notes and music.
Cool.
Okay, and Mary, who is it? Kaylee. Kaylee, right, you're right.
I really liked how we got to learn by using technology, and we got to really learn our word in depth and looking at other people's blog. It gave us an interesting way to learn our words.
Okay, Mary.
It was like easier to learn this way because you could see everything. There's examples, not just a definition.
The picture aspect of it. Okay.
Okay, Ariana.
I like the fact that it was on the internet and we can do it by ourselves and we had the freedom to put what we wanted on it and explain what we learned about different things instead of just taking what teachers taught us and putting it on what we learned. Yeah.
Okay, and Anna?
I liked it because most kids like internet to go on games and other stuff like that, but this includes learning about music. So.
Great, thank you.
So we have one thing to add to that. In your packets, we did say that this was a great tool because it was free and anyone could do it. And when Jeff and I decided to do this project to present to you, it was free. And then this summer, when we went on to get this going, we saw that Glogster has decided to make there be a small fee involved. So it used to be you could log on as a teacher and get, I think, 50 to 100 free accounts. Now you have to pay a little bit. So Jeff and I are sharing an account. We pay $8.95 a month for the two of us, and they give you, I think, 200 students. So between our two classes, or our 4 classes at our schools, we're sharing the same account. So we have the same login, and we can see each other's kids' blogs. Something you can talk to your school district about possibly purchasing a membership, or it's $8. I know a lot of teachers just will do that themselves. So thank you very much. We hope you'll use Glogster.